What if on Halloween night you and your Bible college friends prayed over your town and something answered that was unspeakably darker than God? What could you do? Well, tonight we're going to find out what a Bible student experienced on this, I thought this was hallowed ground episode of Ghosted in West Virginia. Good evening, obsessors, oppressors, and possessors. It is I, your humble, handsome, and grape juice drinking fool, Alec McCann. And with me, as always,
Julia.
She is an imposter. And now calm down. It's too many years. We have a special story. Last episode, I talked about a demon that was going to show up at a Bible college. And that is the story we have tonight. But I must warn you, I only had one source of this. It was a personal account sent into the fog. And it was such an interesting story that I wanted to tell it here. It was just a real interesting story. That's all I can say about it. But we do have one. Nope, we have no announcements. I was wrong. So why don't we just get into the story?
Okay.
How's your day going?
Good.
Yeah.
You beasted down a rattlesnake.
Yeah, you beasted down a rattlesnake. Her father shot it.
But I had to watch it so he could get his gun. I had to be able to stand by with a shovel in case it came after me.
Oliver was quite scared.
He was.
It was quite sweet.
He didn't want me near the snake.
Oh.
And then he kept saying, I want mommy to come back here.
Oh. And you were like, no, bruh. I gotta protect the herd.
Right?
And I was
Because
inside.
my dad didn't have any sons.
And I was inside eating a sandwich. So
Until you heard the explosion.
yeah, Jacob we heard the explosion of his gun go off, and Jacob ran out on the porch and said, "What was that?" And her dad said, "Rattlesnake." Now he said, "What was that explosion?" And her dad said, "A rattlesnake." And he just he was like, "Oh." And so we come inside and we were talking about it a little bit, and he said, "Wait, Granky shot it?" Which means
Oblivious.
he thought that just spontaneously the rattlesnake
Blew up.
combusted.
But,
So
oh well.
we had that experience. Someone was very gracious. We right now we have a Dodge Dakota, which fits all of us, thankfully.
It's a tight squeeze, but we fit.
It is a tight squeeze, but we've been having car troubles. You know, the reason that our car was breaking down, you've heard our various car troubles. The reason we were having various car troubles is the car was putting itself into four-wheel drive. So hopefully that's an easy fix, but right now we have that little Dodge Dakota, and it's doing pretty good. It's actually quite fun to ride in.
I enjoy driving it.
Yeah?
I've missed driving a manual.
And we got a new fridge and a new stove. It's been a pretty good week for us, thankfully.
Yeah.
And we hope that everything's going well with you guys. You know, we tell stories on here, but we don't get very personal. And that's because Julia's an insensitive mug.
I'm not.
No, we didn't really think about it. So we always ask you for your ghost stories. But maybe we should be asking you instead to email us some,
Anything.
I don't know, victories that you have. Or something that, you know, you're struggling with and just want, you know, someone to know about. And you know, if there's resources we can help you with, we'll do that. But
Because I am like the master of finding resources for people.
There you go. But if you guys need any help, or if you just want someone to celebrate a victory with, write in to ghostedandwv@gmail.com, right? Yes. And ghostednwv, not the letter N, I-N, wv@gmail.com. And if you have a ghost story, tell us. But you know what? I think we should triumph with our listeners. You guys have been listening to us since we had a baby, and since before we had a baby. And you know, we've been on this crazy journey. We're starting to do videos, and with this added personal, a wall's been taken down because now you can actually see us, and I'm sure we look exactly as you imagined. I'm ruggedly handsome, debonair. It's clear who really, bought up in this relationship. Me. Yeah. I want you to know how much I love you. In front of all of our listeners that'll listen to this for the week it's on, 6. I love you a great deal. If we weren't together anymore, this show wouldn't be anything. Because I wouldn't be doing it. Are you kidding? Every week I try and find an episode, or I try and find a story. Not every week, but every time I'm working on a story, I think, would this intrigue Julia? Because if it bores me, that doesn't matter. You always seem to find something interesting, even if I think the story is boring. Although there have been a couple of times where I've just stopped the story because it was boring. I was going to do 5 stories of Ouija board possession at one point, and they were all just like, and this happened, and this happened, and I was like, and you can't make a fun story out of a boring story. But
you make fun of it.
I wouldn't be trying to do any of that if it wasn't for you. I love you so much. See what I mean? Sentimentalist mug. Pat me on it. She didn't even say it back. You hear
love
that?
You.
She didn't say it back. Anyway, guys, enough with the mushy gushy. Bunch of girls.
That's how I don't have a double chin.
So our story begins. I did say that this story comes from Into the Fog, right? That's very important. I want to give Peter Laws. I literally just threw in some jokes and found a way to present it for Ghosted, but he did all the video watching. Someone sent him in a video of their story, and he found it extremely interesting, wanted to tell it on his channel. And hopefully, if any of you listen to him and have contacts with him, he doesn't think that I am stealing from him, because I didn't want to. It was just such a good story. It's one of those things where this shouldn't be happening.
I get that.
Like, I'm working on a story right now where a home becomes infested with a demonic presence. That is something that should happen. But this story is like one of those things where, no, I don't think, this isn't, no, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, what I'm working on, I'm having more trouble finding things than what I expected.
What are you working on?
Paranormal encounters in the psych ward.
In the psych ward? Well, okay, I can see why you would have trouble with that, because maybe they wouldn't be posting it down, because they'd be like, it's probably just a delusional hallucination from my craziness.
Yeah. However, they
Can
did.
you call them crazy? Do they listen?
There
to
was
things?
a story that I found that gave me the idea. Was this man had schizophrenia, and he kept talking about this girl, and his doctor, whatever, not the therapist, but the doctor was like, well, we want you to take a picture of her so we can meet her. And he was like, okay. And he did. And it wasn't hallucinations. Did
he post the picture?
No. I know. But
Loser. How are we supposed to trust that?
Right. But the therapist was the one telling the story, but then he had the doctor.
Oh, the therapist was telling the story.
Yeah, and then he had the doctor because he was in a facility and he was diagnosed with schizophrenia. And they were like, he's just hallucinating, but he wasn't. Because when he took a picture, the girl was there.
You know?
And the doctor was like, we can't help you out anymore.
Yep, get out.
And yeah,
Get out.
pretty much.
Sorry for your luck, man. That's not a medical issue.
Right.
Now, before we move on, I used to think I was attractive. Look at the screen. You could ski down that. Zoop. Right down it.
This looked like a Middle Eastern. Hot Middle Eastern.
Ooh. Why, thank you. You know, maybe we use this equipment for something else.
Get.
Anyway, our story begins at Regent's Theological College in the UK. Now, a lot of history took place in this land, but we're not going to talk about it.
Yes.
Well, we'll talk about some of it, but not as the story goes on. We'll talk about it, not as in, you know, we're going to hit you with the stuff right up front.
History first.
I didn't. We did that with Huska Castle, but that was because the history led into the paranormal. The history doesn't really lead into the paranormal quite as much. So, our subject, Josh, went to the college in 2013, and he was in his second year when Halloween rolled around, and he and his friends met up at a pub. Now, they weren't drinking. Or at least Josh wasn't drinking. I don't know about everybody else, but Josh made it clear he was not drinking. They were just there to, you know, have fun. It's Halloween night. They're there to yuck it up.
Hanging out.
And an old man, just like an old movie, you know, sort of like not quite as. I think it's funny. Not quite as funny as the second Friday the 13th with that old man on the bike that says, "You're gonna die up there!"
Yeah.
Not quite as hillbilly-ish, but, you know, think Jaws when they're in the tavern and they find the dude to captain the boat, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of vibe. So they find it, there's an old man who hears them saying, you know, we're gonna go up on the hills and you know, we're gonna pray over the town because it's Halloween, and you know, witches and Wiccans and pagans, they all think that this day is the thinnest between the spiritual realms, so we're going to pray over the people that are out there wearing their effigies. You know, they're ghosts and goblins.
Yeah.
I don't look at it. I'm Christian. I don't look at it that way. I think you only give it power if you mean to.
Just getting candy.
Yeah, oh, don't do that. Just getting candy, that looks worse.
I know.
Because you picked it.
No.
Nuh-huh.
It just started to bleed.
I'm sure.
It did.
But no, I'm one of those, intention is everything, and if I'm intending to
make it
evil, it'll be evil. But if I'm intending on just looking creepy and getting some candy, some years it wasn't even about the candy. I dressed up as Michael Myers for 3 straight years while I lived in Wildflower Creek Estates. And I only say that in case people know where that is. There in Martinsburg. And in case I scared any of you. And I would dress up as Michael Myers, and I would just stalk families. You know, my mom told me, listen, if you're gonna do this, you need to find the families that have one child out of a stroller and one child in a stroller, because the child that sees you is gonna bolt once they realize they're in danger. None of you were ever in danger. If you're listening to this now, none of you were ever in danger. I wasn't gonna kill you. I wasn't even looking to take your candy. I just believed in that one line in Halloween where it said everyone's entitled to one good scare, and I wanted to be that one good scare. I still want to be that one good scare, but there's no real good place to do that because everybody up here has guns. And if I just started following some children around as a 33-year-old man, that's a little creepier.
Yeah.
And definitely takes on not quite as Halloween-y tones as it does, Hey, pedo bear, how you doing? So anyway, she would tell me to, because when those little kids took off, the parents would have to run with the stroller to catch up to them. And
It's terrible.
I know, but Halloween is so fun. Anyway, they did not think so. They weren't into the ghosts and goblins. They were going to pray over the town of Malvern Hills, I believe is what it was called, to pray for protection. So the old man overhears this and he's like, "Ye not be going to them darn hills." No, he did say, "Don't go up there because, especially don't go up to what's, locally it was known as Beacon Hill, but it was just the highest point that overlooked the town. Don't go up that way because on Halloween night, rituals would be performed by cloaked, shadowy figures." Though he did not mention what the ritual was for, just that it'd be safer not to go. Now,
Understandable.
he, I don't know. It doesn't mean that they were, they hear this, right? And they're boys. Yeah, whether or not they're in college, they're boys. You tell boys not to do something, they're going to go do it. We have plenty of experience. She often tells me not to do something, and I do it. We always tell them not to do something, and wouldn't you know it, they do it. Now, I don't know if Julia was this way, although I do know about a certain boyfriend she had for 5 years just because her parents told her she couldn't date him. But
That's called a Petty Betty.
that is a Patty Betty. What just happened? Did we lose lighting? Is it dark? Oh, is it you that's causing the darkness?
I don't know.
She casts a very, very big shadow because she's the star of this show. I know I do all the talking, but she is my muse.
Get. Weirdo.
So anyway, Josh and his friends are like, and guess where we're going? Right to Beacon Hill. They beeline it for exactly where this dude said not to go.
Of course.
But you seriously can't tell a bunch of kids, hey, don't go on the hill with the best view.
Right.
Because pagans will come with their robes and their hoods and their orgies to corrupt your young, white, supple minds. I'm just saying they're white because it's a small town in the UK. If it's anything like up here,
I don't know.
color is... I'm one of the most colorful people here. There's 4 of us, I think. There's me, there's Eli and his... Or, not Eli. Nehemiah and his family. Byron.
And that's it.
And that's it. Everything else is German and Irish up here. With probably some... I don't think any French people. Everybody's too rough out here for French.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
the
French.
wouldn't survive this small town.
We say that, but they were the first ones out here traveling the land, trapping furs, and fighting. They didn't do a whole lot of fighting of the Indians, I don't believe. I think they were mostly just like, you want this coat?
You're going to need it when it gets cold.
Right? I think it was the English Europeans that were like, you want this smallpox? So anyway, and I could be wrong about that. I'm not a historian or a history buff. I don't know what kind of ethnicity even Josh is, really. But
We just assume.
because he's a young male in the middle of nowhere. Now, anyway, you can't expect him to stay at the pub, a place where you can't stay at the pub, and you can't expect him to stay at a pub. I said Josh wasn't drinking, but I didn't know about the other people. Pubs aren't universally known for a place to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
The
funnest, maybe.
Until you wake up the next morning and see that you accidentally slept with someone that shaves. And you're a dude.
Never had that experience.
Me either. But I imagine it's a terrible time to wake up and be like, Al Sharpton? So, oh great, now we're going to get out. It's cucumber.
Those pickles there,
Yep.
Brittany made.
Yeah.
in the door.
Traveling.
They're
No.
good.
He said no. Are they like dill?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's all I needed to know. I don't like bread and butter ones.
I don't either.
Or what do they call them? Sweet pickles? Whatever
I
they
think
are.
so.
It's gross.
Yeah.
And people should stop liking them. Now, they all say they weren't raging drunk, and Josh hadn't even had anything to drink, so maybe this decision was purely made with intelligent choices. I don't know. I have no idea. But what I do know is I'm going to say all the fizz went to his head. You know, he was having sodas, went to his head.
What happened too? Still in the sugar rush.
So what they were going to do is go up the hill, pray over the town to protect it from any possible supernatural threats. So Josh and his friends go up the hill through the thick woods. It took them about 40 to 45 minutes, give or take, you know. And then once they got out of the woods into the clearing to go up the hill, they immediately felt the pressure of their isolation. And they only had one little flashlight in between all of them to get them through the dark. So, and they felt fine, you know, for one part of their walk around the hill. But as soon as they rounded the hill to go further up, they all said that they could feel an ominous air swirl around them. I don't know. It's, you know,
maybe like heavy feeling.
Probably. And it's understandable because Josh said that he felt sick and that the entire group could feel eyes watching them. They all said, I feel like somebody's watching. Is that a white hair? Right there?
Let me find it. Look here. No.
Huh.
I think it's just the way the light was hitting it.
Ooh, I was about to be like, no, not yet. Anyway, so Josh then feels oppressed by something unseen. You know, he's just feeling compressed and not really there with the group. He's not 100% Josh. But he's not being possessed or anything. It's just like, I don't really feel good kind of thing. So as they look up ahead at the path, they see something moving along the hill, going a little bit down. And as they focus their eyes through the darkness, they see two hooded figures, which is what the old man said they would see, going along the hill. And they watch, and these figures stop at a platform that has obviously been built by them, and then they pour something out over it. So these, you know, the boys assume, oh, this is exactly what that dude said we shouldn't have, or we shouldn't see. So then you get this idea, or one of Josh's friends get this idea, and he's like, I know what to do. I'm going to start praying. So they start praying.
Probably smart.
As they walk. But here's the thing. We know from just like YouTube and Facebook and all these things, pagans and Christians don't mix well. Like, if I'm praying, it ain't going to, you know.
Yeah, they don't care.
But, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, if you would to be intruding on some of their ceremonies with, Lord, please forgive these people and everything they do. They don't know what they're doing. They're going to be like, and slap, slap, slap.
Yeah.
So these guys do exactly that to what they think are people. And I can't stress that enough. What they think are people. That's going to be very important later. Now, as they get closer to these people praying, Josh's oppressive feeling grew worse until he reached his breaking point and told the group he had to leave the area. How long did it take him to get up there? 40 to 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Josh got down that hill in 15.
Well, it's easier to go down than it is to go up.
It is. But, and what's really fun is he runs off the hill. He finally stops at a cafe that's on the same street as his dorm. As his dorm. So he stops there. He's huffing, he's breathing. He turns around and finds no one followed him. He is all alone.
Well, he probably came down so fast they couldn't.
What did you get?
It was a spider,
Oh.
but it was a big ant or something.
But they found that he turns around, doesn't see them. Found that they were not hopping down the hill like some glowing bunnies that Eugene Lemon should have already had a net on.
Terrible.
So tired of this dude. If you're a new listener, Eugene Lemon is our resident spiritual animal catcher. He's not very good at his job, but he is the only one, so
There can only be one.
that's typically what he says. Which is why we probably haven't found any of them. Anyway,
Probably.
so Josh knew in his heart of hearts that he had to get back to his dorm. To the heck with friendship. All right, he's not waiting around for these dudes. And I get it, man. Julia and I, I want to say it was our third date, went out to Warden Lake that's up here to do a little impromptu ghost hunting. We thought we heard something, and I left her in the dust.
I'm pretty sure you even pushed me so that you could get a head start ahead of me.
No, man. That never happened. That never happened. She's not telling the truth.
Yes, I am.
I just ran, and I had the keys to the car. And I didn't start the car. I waited for her to come to the car. I just needed to make sure whatever it was could get her, and I had a way to get out of there. That's all it was. Look, we're married, all right?
Now?
Clearly, it didn't get her. And she's forgiven me. That's how we have Oliver. Forgiveness. Now, anywho, so he walks up the street, turns the corner towards his dorm, which is called Stead's, if any of you Wales people are listening. Now, normally the dorm's grounds at night are quiet, and I don't mean like in a supernatural kind of way, just, peaceful stillness.
As they should be.
However, Josh said that he didn't feel alone in the driveway. So, with this feeling, he's going towards his door, then it grows. The feeling grows, and he turns around, kind of not impulsively, compelled. Feeling compelled to turn around, he turns around. And there in the driveway is a figure, a mass shadow about 20 feet away from him. And he looks the figure up and down and notices that, this thing's fingers were incredibly too long
Ew.
to be human. So he looked away because he's like, I don't think so. And then he looked back and the thing's gone. So Salad Fingers has disappeared.
I like it when the red water
Josh
comes
flitted into the dorm room,
Like a butterfly.
flies down the hall, gets in his dorm, and knowing that he'd have to spend the next 7 days alone because his dorm mate was out of town, he's a bit anxious by what he said. So he spent the whole night at the edge of the bed until he was ready for sleep. So he's just sitting there on the edge of the bed, not doing anything.
Creep.
Like someone that just saw something disappear with really long fingers.
Something felt like it stabbed me in my eye.
It was me. I'm so sorry. I thought she was going to keep talking.
Nope.
So anyway, did you see that?
What? Max?
He's over there having a good time.
He's always rolling around kicking his legs.
So he's getting ready to go to sleep. He gets on his laptop, puts on a TV show, and that's it. He goes to sleep, drifts off, and then quarter way through the night, he has this really disturbing, weird dream. He dreams that hold on, let's back up. sorry about that. Let's back up before we get to the dream, because he actually, he falls asleep, and then something in his head tells him he needs to wake up. So he plops his eyes open. I don't know if that's the correct term, but he plops his eyes open and looks around, and he doesn't see anything suspicious except his wardrobe door is open, and he never opens it. So he figured that maybe in his rush to, get out the door or get into the door, he knocked it open. So he gets out of bed and closes it, and then decides to get a cup of water from the bathroom. So he goes into the bathroom, gets a cup of water, turns out the light, and on his way back, he looks and the door is open once again. Okay, he's not real excited by this. Figures it must be something a little ghosty. So he puts a lock on it and then piles a bunch of stuff on top of it in front of it to, or I'm sorry, no, he just locks it. I'm sorry, he doesn't pile stuff. Now he climbs back into bed, drifts back to sleep, and in his sleep, he dreams that the figure that he saw comes into his dorm room, walks over, and, I'm sorry, what? I'm so sorry.
What has happened?
I messed up my notes. How dumb of me. Anyway, so he has a dream for the next hour. And apparently, it wasn't unusual for Josh to have dreams because he was plagued with night terrors most of his life. So for him to be disturbed by the nightmare actually says a lot. It might be because of what occurred after the dream that marked it especially as bad, but in his dream, he could see the figure come in like a person, make directly for the wardrobe. It lifted its hands towards the thing, and Josh realized that it was what he had seen in the driveway, because them super long fingers, I can't make that look like a super long finger, but super long phalanges, were coming out, and its fingers held the lock and the knob of the wardrobe. Well, this image frightened him so much that he jolted awake and panically scanned his room, and then relief washed over him until, because he saw that he was alone, until he saw that his wardrobe was somehow open again. Now, he was hoping that he was still asleep, so he splashed some water in his face, but found his hopes dashed because he was indeed awake. He bolted out of his dorm and spent the rest of the night sleeping on the student lounge couch. Now, in the morning, a friend found him on the couch and asked, "What the crap are you doing, dude?"
I was scared.
Well, he doesn't want to make himself seem ridiculous by telling the guy that he was being haunted by the rake, so he tells him that he fell asleep reading and got up and fearfully grabbed some clothes, refusing to even go near the wardrobe. And then after he left, he went to the chow hall to eat some jam and beans on toast, where one of his friends who had been on the hill finds him and says, "Dude, you look like crap."
Thank you. I tried hard to look like this.
He said, what's going on? Now, Josh has a choice. Either tell the friend about the raging phalange haunting, or pretend he was just tired from all the running he had to do because he's a big brave dog. So Josh, in his infinite wisdom, told him the truth. Whatever he had felt that night had made him want to run like a maniac down that hill, had followed him to his dorm. And his friend listened to his story and suggested that maybe what they had gone through on the hill influenced what he saw in the driveway and in his nightmare. So Josh, because of what his friend said, figured that he was the only one who had been followed that night. And in his mind, he was isolated from his friends. Only because of the fact that I wish I could... oh, wait, can I do this? Yes, I can. I can do this. Jacob, calm down, bro. My goodness, he's so excited.
Don't throw my books.
That's yours?
Yeah.
Oh, it looked like a child's book.
No.
Oh.
It appears something's been spilled on it.
I was. Jacob! I said calm down, honey.
He is excited about whatever is happening.
I don't know. Dude.
Oh my heavens.
Why don't you close our door, honey? Yeah, there you go. I don't know what's going on.
My hands are itching.
Money?
I hope.
So anyway, in his mind, he's isolated from his friends. He's the only one that got visited from the hill. And they told him about, he met with the rest of the group, and they told him what they went through while they were on the hill. After Josh, valiant and brave knight that he is, ran away. The figures on the hill, and the rest of the, the figures on the hill confronted the rest of his group. Whatever these cloaked agents of darkness were yelling at the group, and they were yelling it in a language they weren't familiar with, which I thought it couldn't be Latin, because they go to Bible college, but I went to preaching school and didn't learn any Latin. However, I did learn Latin in high school, so point being,
We only had Spanish offered, and we were forced to take it.
Right. But, like, there's been enough Latin in shows that you should be able to at least identify that it's Latin. It's a lot of Vicularum and Tatium and Uno, dos, tres. You think I'm joking? That's...
Really?
Dominus? No. Dudamus? Dudus? Yes, it's very similar to...
Indominus Rex.
Yes, Indominus Rex. But see, there you go again. Latin. So Latin's pretty easy. The point is, maybe it's not easily identifiable, but I also feel like if you're studying the Bible, you probably can identify Latin a little bit because of the fact that one of the biggest translations in the world is the Latin Vulgate, which is what the Italians used. The Vatican! The Vatican ever! So anyway...
There's a little fox under here.
That's good. This is all they really discussed before everyone decided it would be best to just move on and not talk about it anymore. So Josh went about his day, but he kept seeing some dude in a weird outfit at every place he went to, just staring at him with hatred. Now, as the day went, his anxiety shot up every time he spotted the figure. There was something wrong. So that night, instead of going out with his group, he went to bed because he didn't want to see this figure any longer. Now, he laid down and drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a sharp stinging covered his eyes, waking him up.
Ew.
He popped up and rubbed them to take the pain away, and he looked up. And what he saw made his heart stop. Standing at the foot of his bed stood the dude. He was wearing a large Hoss-type hat and what looked like a knockoff Star Trek captain's uniform. He was a tall figure with a big handlebar mustache. In his hands were large willow branches. He flicked his wrist out and snapped Josh right in the eye. He put his face right up to Josh's, and through his teeth he said, "I'm Big James T, and this my house." And then he hit Josh again before fading away, leaving Josh confused and frightened. See, you thought, oh no, it's a loud one. No, I decided to go with the quiet. Next time I do a Big James T joke, it's going to be a crass. Now,
Gosh.
I already have it written in the episode. So no, Josh actually went about his day unstopped, but did decide to go home to decompress. Now, he was anxious about his dorm room, locking the wardrobe with the lock, praying over it. Then he took several textbooks. This is the incident I was telling you about. Took several textbooks that had to do with the Bible and stacked them in front. And then he took all the heavy equipment from this dumbbell stack and put it in front of that. Now, every horror movie about demons we've watched has shown that evil loves the play tower.
Right?
He just did something more inviting than sacrificing a cat.
Yeah.
He said, "Would you rearrange these for me?" Now, in his sleep, he watched, so then he goes down and goes to sleep. Time passes, and then in his sleep, he watched the long-digited figure return and go straight to the wardrobe. It looked down at the stack and was like, "What the? Are you kidding me?" Oh. So, anyway, stop scratching that.
I can't help it.
So, it looked at the stack and just was like, "No." Boom! And just threw them all over. He was like, "How dare you disrespect me? This is my wardrobe. Before it was yours, it was mine. You know how I know? Because I was before you." So, this, it throws the stacks. Must have thought it was Jenga. Instead of tower. You build up rather than destroy, but whatever. It turns its head towards Josh. Now, here's the thing. Didn't even try and get in the wardrobe. Just threw the crap.
Just for fun.
Just for fun, it threw the crap.
Mom, is my charger out here?
Yeah, your charger's right there. So it decides to throw it and then not get in the wardrobe.
Nice.
He what?
Got a vodka.
What is that? Okay.
It's something that I'm
Something he plays.
On his gardening game. What?
He could actually go gardening.
It's on your gardening game, isn't it?
Oh.
Oh. Never mind.
It's probably a dirty game and we should be parenting better. But here we are with you guys. So anyway, it turns its head, didn't try and open the closet door or wardrobe or whatever. It sees Josh in bed and it creeps closer to the bed. Says, "Oh, hey, honey. How you doing?" And then it reached out with its long fingers and got uncomfortably close to Josh, which was enough to frighten Josh awake, who immediately sat up in bed, scanning his room to see where the molester was. And as he's looking, he doesn't see the shadow, but does see that the wardrobe is actually open, even though he didn't see the creature open the thing.
Ew.
Sees that it is open, and then sees the mess all over the floor. Now at 2 a.m,
Was Zoe there?
right? 2 a.m, he freaks out and calls his pops to ask him to pray. Now he told his dad's also a minister. It was kind of like a family business type thing. His dad says, "All right, we'll pray." He told his dad what was going on, but in the middle of his story, the phone bugged out and started screaming at him in pain.
The phone?
The phone. So it was as if he was being given a direct line to hell. Sort of like, you ever looked up that Siberian hole that they drilled?
And they
Have
put
you-
the speaker down there.
Yeah, have you heard that audio?
Yeah, it's
Whoa,
creepy.
man, it's creepy. It's creepy. So the tortured cries become so loud that Josh ran out into the hall, thinking maybe if he got away from the dorm, it would stop. So 30 seconds later, it does stop, and his dad came back through asking if he could hear him. And Josh said, "Yeah, I hear you. Did you hear that screaming?" And his dad said, "I didn't hear anything but you freaking out." Which means only Josh could hear. He was clear, loud and clear to his dad.
Interesting.
Only he could hear the screaming, and only he was affected by the noise. So, after describing what had just happened, his dad agreed, "Yeah, I'd say you're under a spiritual attack." So they did some praying, and Josh said he did feel a little relieved, but he didn't go back into the dorm. He didn't go back to sleep that night. The next day, he'd find a specific professor that that had specialized in demonic studies, and when he met the professor was like, "You need to come in. I can tell something's wrong. Let's talk." They prayed together. Well, he told him that it seemed something demonic was either trying to or had attached itself to him. They prayed together for God's protection, but as the night drew closer, Josh felt the dread well up in his soul. So, he went to the college gym.
That's how you get it out.
He was going to work out them demons. But, he's working out some of the tension before he goes to bed, wasting his energy, so maybe he can just go straight to sleep without having to spend much time. Starts using the treadmill, and he's listening to In Too Deep by 90s punk icons, Sum 41. 'Cause I'm in too deep, and I'm trying to keep all the thoughts in my head.
I used to love Sum 41.
Used to? We could throw it on now!
That's true.
And if you're wondering why I didn't play the song like I normally do, is because our episode that I put, Carry On My Wayward Son, isn't allowed to be seen in Russia. So, I don't want to, rock the boat there. Anywho, as Josh was putting rubber to conveyor rubber, he started to feel the same intense anxiety that he had felt while he was dreaming. The demon had found him.
Oh, no.
It was bedtime. Now,
It's her bedtime.
I know, she's gone.
She's
Zoe's
precious.
out. So anyway, he felt the dorm well up. Or, I'm sorry, he felt the doom, not the dorm. That'd be real hard to feel. No, he felt the doom well up in his throat and express itself in a desperate moan. He watched in horror as this thing raised its unnaturally long finger and signaled for him that it wanted him to come closer.
And I would say, no.
Protect and serve who? Him? So anyway, his legs gave out on him while running on the treadmill. The treadmill slingshotted him into another workout machine, which I believe was a rower. One of the rower machines. His foot got stuck in the thing, and he was so scared, he didn't even notice the pain until he limply ran to the exit. Not looking back to see if the thing was closer, because he was like, no, I don't need to know. He escaped and ran right into the RA, or whatever the British thing is. Yeah, I don't know exactly what they're called. And the RA could tell that something was wrong. You don't say! Someone running!
Right?
Like a lame duck in fear didn't give you the obvious notion. It didn't strike him as normal behavior. It's amazing. It's an amazing person. He reads people well. So Josh tells the guy about what had happened, and then they both hurry to the gym. And when they got there, they found nothing. And the RA told him, you might want to go see some counseling.
Well.
So, this is the last time that Josh would see the figure. At least at college. And while he didn't see it there again, he still wouldn't stay in his dorm. If his roommate wasn't home, he'd stay at friends' dorms. Others would walk into his room and admit that they could feel some sort of oppressive air in the room. And when Josh left college, the heaviness left him as well. Now, years later, the friend that he went on the hill with that had said, maybe what we experienced on the hill influenced everything. Well, he confessed that after that night, he too had always felt watched. And when Josh had relayed what he had seen, the friend was too scared to admit out loud what he had been experiencing too. So just as when Josh left, the feeling left him, so too had it done for his friend. 10 years after college, Josh was not a minister, but instead had a thriving career in medicine. He worked in the ER at the University Hospital of Wales. Now, it was partially underground and connected to other departments through the tunnel system.
That's creepy.
Yes, the tunnels themselves were only lit by hanging ceiling lights. so even creepier.
Were the tunnels leading to the morgue?
Actually, yes.
Were they?
Yes. So the tunnels also housed the morgue. Now, just like every spot in the UK, this place was rumored to be haunted. You know, you had one story that a doctor was having a chinwag with an elderly man on the elevator. He gets paged. He gets off immediately, goes to where he's needed for the emergency. He gets there, sees one of the nurses doing CPR on someone, and when the doc saw who it was, he became greatly confused because it was the man he had just been talking to.
Ew.
Suffice to say, there are a lot of ghost sightings here, but it wouldn't be a human spirit that Josh would have to, worry about here. So, Josh is working. He gets a break at 2 a.m., decides to go hang out in the chapel, which is not something he would often do. Something told him that he just needed to be there, and the way this story pans out here, I'm wondering if that something was in fact this thing. Because something tells him he needs to be there, but instead of going out and around to get to it, he just decides he's going to go through the tunnels. And as he went, the old familiar sting rose at his heart. As he went, the feeling got stronger, and trepidatiously, he turned to look behind him, and there was nothing at the tunnel with him. He saw it was empty. Feeling a little bit of relief, he turned back around, and his breath caught in his throat, because there, standing in front of him, was the figure staring at him. Now, he was not able to move because of his fear, and as if satisfied by this reaction, it faded from his sight, as if like one more scare, I get him one more time.
Right.
So far, this has been the last time he's seen it, but still the question remains, what is this thing? Well, there might actually be an answer. There was a man known as Saint Worston, and it was said that he lived between 1042 and 1066 during the reign of King Edward. This is the history part I told you about. Now, he was thought to have been a part of the Deerhurst Monastery until the Northmen, from Hollywood fame, obviously, came to sack the area, Vikings. But I'm pretty sure they're like from Norway. I don't know what a Northman is.
I don't know.
But I know it's a type of Viking. So he escaped to Malvern Hills, the exact hill range that the boys had hiked and seen that ritual going on. And as the legend goes, he was given a vision and told to build a chapel there, which is now called St. Anne's. Him doing this didn't sit real well with the pagan Celts, and they stormed the chapel. Finding Worston inside, they beheaded him. His blood spilling on the ground would, to later generations, make the spot holy ground. Now, what I imagine they didn't care about was that it was already, a religiously significant spot to the pagans. They had worshipped there, and that site might have already belonged to a spiritual entity before it had to God. But what Josh had witnessed was a pagan ritual that punished him for his intrusion at a spot that was intruded upon already. And that is the end of our story. What'd you think?
I liked it.
Yeah? It gave me the kind of feels of like, this thing is not supposed to be here.
Right.
It's a Bible college. It just threw his textbooks with all sorts of Bible verses in it. Like, it was like, please.
We don't want this.
I don't need this in my... Why are you cluttering up my room? And then it showed up... It is creepy that it showed up 10 years later just to scare him.
Yeah.
Like, just to say, I'm still here,
Right.
bro. But hopefully it chilled you guys. It thrilled you. It made you feel hunky-dory. Actually, I hope it didn't make you feel hunky-dory. You need to close your doors, close your windows. Don't go to a chapel under towers or tunnels. Also, don't go on a hill to pray. All right? It just seems like going to a high place is a bad time.
Do it on the flat land.
Flat land. Here. I know you guys got flat land in England. Or at least you got some small hills that you ain't gotta... You want to pray on a town? Touch each building. Just walk through, touch each building, and be like, ah, the Lord bless you. The Lord bless you. The Lord bless you. The Lord bless you.
Had a cold chill.
Alright, so, with that being said, we do have one announcement. Eugene Lemon actually has had a pretty good control over salty garlic this last week. We haven't had any reports of burning feet. We haven't had any reports of missing skin. It's been going pretty good.
About time.
About time. And through no fault of his own, she has gotten out. Now, I know it's a weekly occurrence, but most of the time it is Eugene Lemon's fault. However, we did not realize that salty garlic's sweat is acidic, and she burned right through her cage. It's been blazing hot outside. She's only used to hellfire flames, and sun flames are not quite the same. So she's out. She's sort of acidic. If you have a bedroom on the top floor, you may want to sleep on the first floor tonight because it will burn through the floor. She will be looking for your feet, and it is hard to curl up in a couch. So maybe I suggest you couch sleepers put your feet under the cushion. She doesn't know how to raise them up. I don't know why. She can sweat through a cage, but she can't raise up a cushion. It is weird.
She's silly.
She's silly. But salty garlic is looking for them soles. She is looking, and soles of feet. That's what I mean. She is looking for the soles of your feet to lick them off and sustain herself. Make sure you curl or hide your toes. Bye.
Bye.